Tonight we are in Paris for the latest stage of our competition to find the Sky Arts Portrait Artist of the Year.
In this part of the contest, our 4 finalists need to convince the judges that they can develop to become truly great artists, and to paint a portrait of a woman who has inspired photographers, designers and writers, model and author Sophie Dahl.
So who's got what it takes to become the Sky Arts Portrait Artist of the Year? Our search for the Sky Arts Portrait Artist of the Year began when we invited artists to send us their self-portraits. Nearly 2,000 sent us their work, amateurs and professionals, young and old, from all corners of Britain and Ireland.
Those shortlisted by our judges were invited to compete in Trafalgar Square, Cardiff, Dublin and Glasgow. Competitors were challenged to produce a portrait of a sitter well known from the worlds of drama, sport or entertainment.
From Game of Thrones, the actress Sophie Turner.
And all of it in front of large crowds and against the clock.
Artists, you have 10 minutes left.
3 expert judges, a curator, a renowned artist and a dealer, faced the tough task of selecting 4 finalists.
The winner of the London Heat,
Eventually, Louis' delicate brushstrokes, Selena's bold use of colour, Nick's hyper-modern technique, and Euan's classical style saw them qualify for this week's competition.
The artists are competing for an amazing prize. All will have their work displayed at the National Portrait Gallery, and the overall winner will receive a £10,000 commission to paint a portrait of double Booker Prize-winning author Hilary Mantel, which will become part of the permanent collection of the British Library.
The Royal Academy, home to some of the world's finest art. Our contestants have brought with them their portfolios, which the judges will study and give advice on how best to use their time in Paris. Kathleen Soriano, Director of Exhibitions here at the Royal Academy. Taishan Shirenberg, a multi-prize-winning painter. Kate Bryan, Head of Contemporary at the Fine Art Society.
Louis, Euan, Selena, Nick.
But first, the artists are about to hear about their next challenge.
What do you think, Joan? Do you want to do it?
Well, I think you should break the news.
Have you ever experienced weightlessness before? No, you're not going that far. You're going to go to Paris.
Wow.
When you're there, you're going to paint someone who at the moment remains unnamed.
But before you go, you've got to go through another stage, which is that each one of you is going to have their work assessed and discussed by the judges, one by one. So that's why you brought your portfolio.
The first of our contestants to face the judges is Selena Moat. Selena won the heat in Dublin with her portrayal of actress Pauline McLean, best known for her role in Father Ted. It was Selena's particular use of colour which appealed to the judges, but now showing them the rest of her work is far more nerve-wracking.
Slightly terrified, but I'm really looking forward to it. It's not every day you get to sit in front of a panel like that and get your work critiqued.
Hiya.
Hello. Hi.
Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you all too. This isn't intimidating at all.
Well, they're two very contrasting portraits.
Sure, yeah, I guess.
Quite interested that they have no background.
I knew you were
No.
gonna say.
But on the other hand, I've seen not only this beautiful landscape, but other landscapes of yours, and I was quite interested in the fact that you never felt the need to kind of bring
The two together. From doing the portraits, I did notice that the background space was something that I didn't really focus on. So I think the landscapes then started to happen, and it was a chance for me to work on a larger scale and kind of be a bit more freer
Do you think your landscape paintings have allowed you to bring on your portrait paintings?
I think so, yeah. I think I haven't quite managed to combine the two yet.
So the judge's advice to Selena is to study works where the portrait and landscape work closely in harmony.
Okay then, Selena. Well, it's up to you now. If you go to Paris, good luck, enjoy yourself, and make the most of it.
Thank you so much. Thanks for all your feedback.
Very good to see you.
Next up is Louis Morris, who won our first heat in London. The judges picked out his portrait of actress Juliet Stevenson for its delicate and colourful brushwork. Louis' day job is designing banknotes in Basingstoke, but he spends much of his spare time developing his portraiture.
This competition has been very enriching, very stimulating, and my head is stuffed with ideas. It's the kick in the pants that I need for my painting. Hello.
Hi, Louis. Come on in and join us.
Yes.
The way you put paint on is not unrelated to Cézanne. Now you're going to Paris. Is there anything you want to see there of Cézanne?
He's a true great, and the colours, I love that about his work.
In Paris, you must look hard at Manet. There's a definition that he has that I think you're in danger of losing sometimes.
And also I think as well it would be good to look at a few more contemporary sources, or just think about your painting slightly differently, because you mustn't let yourself go too in the realm of something traditional in the 19th century, because I mean, some of the paintings where you've got everyone sort of wistfully near a window, you've done that well, but I think it would be interesting to see what else you can do. And I think your handling of the composition and the way that you found that narrative on the day was genius.
So the judges think Louis' work will benefit from looking at artists such as Manet and Cézanne. But he's also encouraged to seek out more contemporary artists whose work might freshen his approach to composition.
Okay, see you and have a great time.
Thank you.
Next to get some advice from our judging panel is Nick Lord, who's just 24. Nick won the heat in Cardiff, where the judges found his portrait of Welsh rugby star Gavin Henson to be bold and full of character. Nick currently works for his father painting model railways, but would love to make his living as an artist.
I think the next stage, talking with the judges, I've just got an image in my head of them just sort of picking the whole sort of paint, or my whole portfolio apart, sort of pointing out all the flaws. So I suppose I'm expecting the worst.
That's great.
Well, these ones are, they're part of a collaboration I'm doing with a photographer, because we both sort of working together. And I like sort of painting the human figure, and I think with the sort of tattoos, it just makes it a bit more interesting.
There's obviously something that interests you here in a sort of quite edgy-looking model. But I have to say, as a piece of advice, I feel that sometimes using that kind of sitter and that subject, when your style is already so contemporary and fresh, it's almost like you're slightly over-egging the pudding.
I would say that there's an element of caution, is that I do think you start to wander into the illustrative. Instinctively, I'm asking you to look at great painting.
I love the way that you break up the surface of your pictures. I'd love for you to see a bit of Cézanne.
So Nick is also encouraged to use his time in Paris to look at the work of Cézanne, but to develop his own style and not to try to copy anyone else.
Nick, thanks very much for talking to us. I wonder if you could send in the next artist, please.
Yep, thank you. Cheers. Thank you.
Last in is Euan McClure, who won the Scottish heat with his stunning painting of Paralympian rugby star Michael Kerr.
Well, this was an unexpected element of the competition, and I haven't been this nervous since my art college days when the tutors would cast their beady eyes over my work.
Euan lives outside Edinburgh with his girlfriend, who shares his interest in Georgian folk singing. Euan's classical approach shows great skill and talent, but the judges are concerned that his usual style may be a hard sell in today's market, so they're encouraged by the first example of his work.
And a surprise.
Yeah.
Well, it's simply geometric shapes as seen through the two-dimensional cutouts from which they're folded.
No, it's good. Was it early? I mean, is that...
Well, no, that's relatively recent. It was one of those ideas that I just wanted to see done.
The overriding feeling, apart from these later experiments, which are actually quite classical in their conception as well, is how the word academic comes to mind. what I see around me, there are sort of fishes on plates and books on tables, and I recognise the motifs. And I wonder, though, you know, you're a young man, you don't have fishes on plates in your kitchen. It'd be quite interesting to see you paint what is on your plate.
I wonder whether you know your art history too well. I mean, I don't find it in the portrait of Michael.
No, not at all.
There's almost a freedom there, but interestingly, nearly every other picture in this room has some other historical reference in it.
I mean, in a funny way, you know, I think Courbet would be a great painter for Euan to look at in Paris. And in a sense, you know, he was really cutting edge in his day. He was painting what he saw around him.
We don't want you to suddenly become the new Banksy, but actually we just want you to be thinking about your contemporary surroundings in the way that those masters of art history were doing in the 19th century. You should be doing that today for yourself.
I've got another suggestion, Euan. As the judges here seem to think that you're constrained in some way by art history, why don't you just go to Paris and get drunk?
Joan, that's your answer to everything.
So all of the contestants have been given valuable insights on how to develop. Euan is advised to look at some Courbet, but most of all to go to Paris and have some fun. Louis and Nick have been advised to look at the work of Cézanne for inspiration on composition and use of colour. Selena needs to bring together the foreground and the background of her paintings. Their challenge will be to turn what they've learned into a new portrait. But as yet, they have no idea who their sitter is going to be. Here at the Musée d'Orsay, the artists explore one of the greatest collections of Impressionist masterpieces in the world. Euan heads directly to see Burial at Ornans by Gustave Courbet, because it's a fine example of an artist painting exactly what he sees around him.
It just makes me utterly humbled. He was 30 when he painted this. There's huge human depth and psychology. Look at any one of the portraits and you can feel what they're feeling. The degree of planning that goes into something like this to make it look unplanned is mind-boggling.
Selena has been encouraged to study Pierre Bonnard because of his mastery of the relationship between the sitter and background.
I love this one. This is great. I don't know if you can see, but there's actually a person sitting on this side of the painting. And that, to me, is really interesting, because you don't notice them at first. You know, that there's no kind of real description of the space. It's just all about shape and colour. And that, for me, is what I'm drawn to as an artist. So.
In the shadow of Montmartre, Nick joined Selena at a life drawing class to work on their drawing skills.
How are you getting on?
Yeah.
Getting there?
Yeah, I don't think I left enough space for the feet, and I cut half the head off, so...
You've already giant-sized her, then. Challenging me.
Yeah, definitely. Some special work.
My feet are still in the wrong place.
Banknote designer Louis has come to l'Orangerie to look at the works of Paul Cézanne. Like Cézanne, he too wrestles with the concept of when a portrait is finished.
And he's done just enough to tie her in, to relate her somehow to the edge of the picture. And that's enough for him. It's a real painter's painting. It's a sort of work that when I look at it, it makes me want to dash home and get my paints out and get going, especially on a portrait.
While the work of the great masters can provide inspiration, our finalists are keen to get going on the real purpose of their visit.
So how are you feeling about tomorrow? Are excited, apprehensive.
Yeah, I hope I still remember how to paint. I can't wait to get going.
I'm actually really interested to see how we all begin. It'd be really interesting to see how we all work and maybe learn something from each other. And who would be your ideal sitter?
Well, I wanted John Paul Gaultier.
Oh,
I wanted,
yeah.
I just thought...
Someone with real character. Jared Depardieu would be great, because he's got a really interesting nose.
Yeah, I suppose my dread is an absolute beautiful woman, just because you can't improve on that kind of perfection. But then I suppose I'll be looking for maybe this beautiful woman in an introspective moment when there's a hint of doubt or something that you can pick up on. It's not just about sort of physical perfection.
The artists are ready to begin their main reason for coming to Paris, the penultimate stage in the competition. Maxime's, a Belle Epoque restaurant where the greatest artists were once to be found. In an empty suite upstairs, the artists prepare their paintbrushes and easels.
No, that's too much.
Each one is trying to progress their approach to portraiture, but so far the identity of their sitter has remained a mystery.
Wow.
Hey.
I'm Sophie. Hi. Nice to meet you. Hello.
Selena.
Hi. How do you do?
Model and author Sophie Dahl is an experienced muse. She has posed for some of the world's best photographers, and her grandfather, Roel, even wrote her into his children's book, The BFG.
So, I haven't sat for a very long time.
Oh, okay. So you've got a book to read, clearly.
Yes, I've got a book to read.
Presumably you'll be looking down, I
Yes.
guess.
So actually I might kick my big, high, uncomfortable shoes off and sort of...
Let you
Yeah,
settle
this way,
in.
yeah.
Let you get settled in and leave you there maybe for a little while, because
Okay.
what seems comfortable now in like 2 minutes
Well,
might
I'll be
agonising.
miserable about it. There we
So
go.
if you were actually at home, I think that might be best. I don't know what the others think. But
yeah, just whatever's natural
I
and
think the key
comfortable
thing
for you,
is settle into it.
That's lovely. There.
Does that seem all right to you, Sophie?
Yeah, I think so. If I'm sort of screaming in 50... I mean...
Yeah, I'm sure you won't suffer in silence, but don't.
With everyone agreed on the pose, at last the artists can get going on what they've really come to Paris to do. They will have 6 hours over 2 days to paint their portrait of Sophie Dahl.
Louis decides quickly on a colour palette for his background. He starts out in his tried and tested fashion, tentatively applying precise blocks of colour onto the canvas. Normally, Selena would start by putting paint straight onto canvas, but today she begins with a sketch.
Can I ask you what you're reading, Sophie?
You can. I'm reading a biography of Madame de Pompadour.
Madame de Pompadour.
By Nancy Mitford, and Madame de Pompadour was Louis XV's mistress. She was one of his favourite mistresses. I love Nancy Mitford. This is a great, great biography by her.
Okay.
It's the first edition that was signed by Mitford.
Wow.
And one of my favourite things, so that's why I have it as well.
Oh,
yes.
amazing.
After much contemplation, Nick eventually starts with a detailed figure study. Euan was dreading having a beautiful woman for the sitter, but seems to be finding the depth he was hoping for. Selena resorts to her usual method of blocking the canvas out in one single colour. Louis is trying to avoid another wistful portrait next to a window, which will force him back into his comfort zone.
Sophie, how are you finding the position? Is it still reasonably comfortable?
I'm sort of used to it. I'm used to it because I modelled for a long time. I was a model for, 15 years or so. So I'm quite used to it. I actually thought I was moving around a lot. Have you ever sat for anyone?
I have. Yes, and it's quite relaxing. It's a chance to just lose yourself in your thoughts.
Yeah, it's lovely.
The artists have a lot to live up to. Sophie has been photographed the world over.
I imagine it's a trickier proposition for them, with the intimacy that is useful for an artist to have with their subject, and I think it is probably a bit tricky because they're guessing. I mean, I suppose that's the job of an artist, and also particularly with portraiture, you are witnessing a moment, so they don't have to sort of know my soul.
But even witnessing a moment can be tough when it takes several hours of concentration. In the break, the painters catch their breath.
I'm struggling with it at the moment. I think it's always that first couple of hours, getting it all out.
Yes, it's such early days. Sometimes it's best to actually slow down when you're panicking, just rather than feeling you've got to rush at it. Just actually take a breather and consider.
Yeah, definitely. I get a bit worried because you guys have all just sort of gone off with paint straight away. And I'm still in pencil. And I'm just about done the eye.
I'm really enjoying it. I can already hear people saying, but that's the same composition for the heats, except in reversed. I would have loved to have done something different. It's kind of the composition which I find compelling. I did wonder about having it different, but I think all the best artists repeat themselves as well. So.
How did you find that?
It's all right. Yeah, I'm happy now. I think I'm getting into it.
It's just getting familiar with her, isn't it? Just kind of... She seems lovely.
Yeah. I'm just thinking 2 days, 2 days, 2 days.
I think I'm being slightly more cautious than I would be normally. There's the tendency to kind of jump in. So I think I'm just like, yeah, take your time, don't rush. Wasn't it the other leg over the other leg? Sorry.
The artists are nearly halfway through the time allowed for their paintings of Sophie Dahl. 3 of them have already captured a likeness, but Nick is still working on his drawing. They have just over 3 hours left to complete their portraits.
Euan has made bold strides ahead, and his portrait is perhaps the most developed of the group. Selena Mowat has also dived in, adding more layers of colour, but the background remains abstract. Louis is following his usual style of painting and waiting for the likeness to emerge. Nick is absorbed in the early stages, sketching out the details.
I love them all in their individual ways. Yes, I've had a sneaky peek at the other 3, and it's fascinating to see how they're approaching it. All entirely different, of course. All at slightly different stages, but they seem to have a definite game plan. And I've gone sort of hell for leather, just trying to get as much down as possible, so I've got an idea of what the finished painting is going to be. Others maybe have a longer-term strategy, and it's a case of a more gradual accumulation of marks.
It's going okay, I think. I'm trying something slightly different to how I normally work. The room and the light is very cool today, so I'm kind of working backwards. So I've started with a very warm, rich colour. Slightly anxious about how it's going to turn out, but I think it's okay.
I'm really happy to be painting, and I'm happy with the way it's going. I'm just trying to find Sophie on the canvas. Sophie presents you with a wonderful range of colours, and it's a real treat, and I'm just trying to make the most of them. but not get too greedy. Thank you.
That's great.
Cheers, Sophie. Well done.
It is the end of the first day, and the finalists have to stop their painting. They're halfway through their allotted time. Tomorrow will be their last chance to finish their portraits and prove to the judges how they can develop their own style of work.
So I think I'm not going to look until tomorrow because I think it's sort of... Otherwise, I feel like you're in the middle of... It's half finished. I wouldn't want anyone to... I write, and I wouldn't want anyone to read my writing before it's been edited. Otherwise, I feel like someone's reading my diary, you know. So I will see you all tomorrow.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank
Cheers,
you so
Sophie.
much.
Thanks again. See you tomorrow.
Bye.
For some light relief from the concentration needed for the portraits, Euan and Louis go out in search of well-known street artist Tom Tom.
Ken. Like this.
Oh, brilliant, thank you.
I want it to be really dense red for the eyes. Okay. Hey. That's it. I love it. I love it. One thing I wanted to do is maybe have the other one sort of like there and then another one there, and it's like a radioactive kind of symbol. But I'm happy with one, really, just the one. Don't want to get greedy.
Meanwhile, Selena is still following the judges' advice to see how great masters such as Matisse tie in their subjects with the background.
You're absolutely right to bring up the notion of integrating a figure into space, because this is precisely what he tries to do here. He structures the figure so that in many ways her femininity is expressed by the colors and the flower patterns around her.
She seems almost insignificant in amongst all those abstract shapes and patterns.
What Matisse always does is he removes his models from the realm of reality to the realm of pure art.
I mean, I really wanted this to be very graphic and industrial looking, so...
After a few years.
Louis, this was my still life with the fish, and the judges felt that it was a little bit passé. Well, not passé, but people don't eat fish on a plate like that. So I hope the judges appreciate that I've taken my very Luddite old master painting into the 21st century.
Hello!
You came back.
I came back.
Well, that's good.
Imagine if someone else walked in. Sorry. How are you?
The next morning, the artists return to their portraits. With just 3 more hours to go, it's time to begin some fine-tuning.
Nick has finished his study and has started to apply paint to his canvas. Selena is doing her best to put into practice what she has learned from the judges and the masters. Despite his exposure to contemporary influences, Louis is steadfast in his characteristic approach, whilst Euan is making more dramatic gestures.
I had made Sophie a little sort of cutesy, and so it was a slightly shallow painting, but there's a bit more content there that I'd like to pick up on. So I've been quite ruthless and I've scraped off quite a lot of paint.
Sophie?
Yeah.
Now, have you had any thoughts about how you might get portrayed or how you fear you might
I try not to think about that.
No.
Wildly intelligent looking.
Okay, you've got the book.
No, I think you want to feel that you have made a connection, and so that you're letting someone see you. I guess I would hope that you capture something that's natural and there.
Yeah.
Although Nick has made far less progress than the others, he hopes that a looser style, akin to the great master Cézanne, will help him catch up.
Cézanne's work was all about the sort of the different layers as such, and not what it looks like up close, more about what it looks like from afar, where I haven't got time to worry about it. I think it'll be quite interesting. It could go terribly wrong, but yeah, it's going to be interesting. Watch this space.
I think I'm happy with the colour. I'm not quite happy with the tone of what's happening, the dark kind of qualities. The chair is really frustrating me. I'm looking for a motif to put into the background.
Hopefully nothing will go, and background to me is as important because it relates to the painting. It will affect the way she looks in that space.
I didn't really know how it was going to sort of turn out, but it seems to be getting there, and it's far more sketchy and loose than I originally thought it would be. So it still seems to be having the same sort of effect. So pleased with it at the moment, but no my luck, I'll completely ruin it in the last 10-15 minutes.
In these last moments, the artists confront one of the toughest questions of all. When is their painting finished?
It's all right. It is what it is. We've got, what, 10 minutes to go? Something like that. I'm just trying not to spoil things at the last minute.
I was happy with it before I started the background, but I feel like I've messed it up a bit, but...
Nothing ever goes according to plan. I had a few last-minute problems with some drawing, and so I'm going to spend the last 10 minutes trying to sort that out.
The dying minutes is very, very, very difficult. Yes, I can't really talk right now.
Well done.
Thank you for your patience. Thank you.
Yeah, you finished painting now? Yeah.
In making a portrait, the artist and Sophie have shared an experience. Now she takes a moment to see herself through their eyes.
It's so funny coming in and having no one in here, and it feels like I'm snooping, and also just having had absolutely no idea what each was going to be like. And also watching Euan as he worked, you stood very far back and seemed to be very scientific. So I imagined something totally different. I love it. It's totally not what I expected, but I absolutely love it. I knew about Nick's spray painting, and I imagined it to be more modern than this. It's sort of quite timeless. It's great. It's really tricky. You can't ask me to pick a favourite because they're all so different. It feels like a jolly Matisse lady. I love it. It's another total surprise. I imagine Louis to be the most sort of specific. Such a funny thing. Yet they have stumbled upon a moment that really captured it with intimacy and warmth, each one of them.
Now the artists bring their paintings back to London. where the judges will assess which of them has progressed most from their time in Paris. One will soon be a step closer to being declared Sky Arts Portrait Artist of the Year. Back at the Royal Academy in London, it's time for the artists to present the fruits of their labours in Paris, and to see how each of them has progressed since the judges scrutinised their portfolios.
I think that the advice we gave them was both good and bad, and I would trust and respect an artist who ignored it, and trust and respect an artist who didn't ignore it. What's testament to the value of that advice is the work that they produce at the end of it.
Hi.
Nice to see you.
Hello. Hi. Okay, we're dying to see these. Are you going first?
I was a bit apprehensive because I wasn't too happy with how I left it in France.
Oh, wow.
Oh, so sensitive.
Yeah.
I find out I want to say so French in a weird sort of way.
I think there's a lovely sparsity to it.
Yeah.
I love that.
Your brushstrokes have become a lot smaller and more delicate.
There's a great luminosity and light to it. It's a great sort of, it's quite magical. I think it's amazing the way you find that.
Are you happy with it?
There are parts that I like about it, but I see it more of a sketch for a bigger sort of piece.
But you still stayed true to your core, which is great, which is what we liked in the first place.
Yeah, I'm a bit worried.
Are you?
Yes. But in a sense, I think you've lost a bit of what was original about you. But it's a journey, and I think you haven't lost it. I can see it's still you, of course.
Yeah,
so.
no. It was just a bit more of a sort of like an experiment. Of sort of just like it would have been a waste otherwise to not sort of take advantage of the situation.
Yeah. But it's progress, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's progress.
Great, yeah.
Well, glad you like it. Yeah. To see their reaction as well, it was all really positive. It's definitely made me look at it in a new light and sort of realise that it wasn't as bad as I thought it was.
Right, on to the next one. Right, Euan. Moment of truth.
I'm not sure if this painting reflects any of the advice the judges gave. That would be for them to judge. I simply wanted to do her justice, but I think I fell short.
Come on, then, let's have a look at it.
Right.
Totally different scale.
Again, very beautiful light.
I mean, I like the face a lot.
Yeah.
I think you've really captured a character in that face, and I love the way the light is bouncing off the book almost into her face.
It's a great composition as well.
I can see how you've sort of tried to loosen up a little bit, haven't you?
I did hold off on over-refining anything. I thought I had all the time in the world, but in the dying sort of minutes, I realised I should pull this together. So I feel I could probably have done with considerably more time. To me, it's a bit hit and miss.
I think it's a bit sweet.
Yeah, I think the face is great. The hair, I'm not convinced by. It feels like you're finding it hard to resolve how the light works on the hair.
But I still get the sense that the experience was of value, though, wasn't it? You know, and the looking and the thinking again about your own work in that context.
I'm very aware that I'm going to have to raise my game after the Sophie portrait. I think I still have plenty to prove, but unfortunately, no excuse will rescue a mediocre painting.
Well, we're not making any decision today, so there's plenty more time.
I won't be too upset about it, no.
Great, well done.
Good, thank you.
Hello.
Selena. How are you?
Good, thanks. Yeah.
Did you have a great time?
It was amazing. Yeah, brilliant.
Come on then, let's have a look how it's affected your work. Yeah, come on.
Big reveal.
Wow. That is such a contrast. I so didn't expect that. I'm going to have to think about this.
Yeah, I need a bit of time.
Think about this. Talk us through how Bonnard did this to you.
It was wild colour. It was actually Matisse.
It was Matisse, yes.
I started with the pink and then built it up from there. So
how do you feel about it?
I think it's slightly garish in points.
It feels very disjointed in certain bits of it, and I was wondering, was there some point where it sat together a bit more than it does now?
No.
I
don't know, actually.
I quite like that variety, of course, because I find it takes my eye tonally, but also texture-wise, and I see ghostly layers of your past work sitting on it.
I think the drawing is good. I think I managed to get a good likeness of Sophie. Whether the painting surface looks like how I would like it to look is another question. I'm not sure.
Anyway, well done. Looking forward to seeing the next one.
Yeah,
actually.
Yeah, I'm really intrigued now.
Yes, yeah. What will be revealed?
You made all three of us speechless at once, which is...
Right, where's Louis?
Louis.
Hi, Louis. How do you get on?
Well, I'll let you be the judge of that.
I think, yeah, that might be true.
I'll just...
Did you do this in the same way? Did her face come in quite late, or how did you do it? Because it feels like you're building up momentum until you get into the face.
I like to surprise myself, so I try and keep it abstract as long as I can, and that's how I find my surprise in it. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
There's your marks are slightly different, aren't
yes,
they?
Yes, they are. I was just looking down here. They're braver. They're not so tentative and delicate.
Sometimes you're not quite sure if what you've just painted has been a good painting, and so it is very interesting to see it through someone else's eyes.
I love this bit. There's such movement here. And
the arm is beautiful and the colour of the book is beautiful.
That's my favourite bit.
Yes.
The bits that they like seem to be everything but the face. So I would have liked to have perhaps had the face to be more praiseworthy, I think, it being a portrait.
The way that you paint is quite different to a lot of other artists that I've encountered. This idea of you want to be going on a journey to, you expect there to be a reveal to yourself.
Well, yeah, sort of. It's like join the dots or that kind of, it's fun. I want it to be fun. I don't see myself as, you know, some great painter with a duty to humanity to produce great work. I do it because I enjoy it.
Yeah. Well done, everybody.
Can I just say, I'm really pleased we picked you guys. Because they're all different. You've all made a step forward, and it's just. I think your compositions are all just fantastic.
There is still an all-important stage of our competition to go, but we twisted the judges' arms to tell us who has most captured their imagination so far.
At this stage in the competition, my money's really on Nick. And I think that the work that he's produced in Paris as a consequence is sort of shouting out about an artist who's keen to develop, keen to learn, who's really absorbing all the influences around him.
Today, I think my opinion has changed slightly on who might win. I always had my money behind Nick, and I'm slightly unsure as what he's done with this Parisian portrait of Sophie Dahl. The other artist that I'm actually really interested in is Selena as well. I think she's the person who's taken the biggest risks, but done it with the most confidence. I mean, she has got away with murder, really.
The artist that I find most exciting is Selena Moat, because she's being quite courageous. And in her courageousness of making interesting paintings, of all four of these people, she's got a likeness. That combination is just a fantastic winning combination, really.
But for all four artists, there is still everything to play for. Next week, each will be given the biggest commission of their careers to date. They will paint a public figure for some of Britain's grandest institutions. Their new portraits will be unveiled when our judges will be joined for their final deliberations by the director of the National Portrait Gallery, Sandy Nairn.
Whatever the style, whether it's more expressive, whether it's tighter and more realist, the underlying thing is, can you get that person on canvas? Can you bring them to life for us as viewers?
So join us next week at the National Portrait Gallery for the grand final, when we will announce the overall winner of Sky Art's Portrait Artist of the Year.